Welcome everyone to another SC2 commentary. This is Landfall, and today we have the MLG Annaheim opening bracket number 3 between coLCatZ spawning as the red Zerg in the top right corner and the Millennium ToD spawning as the blue Protoss in the bottom left corner. Now coLCatZ, of course, part of Complexity Gaming, coming into this tournament with a seed number of 23, and Millennium ToD, part of Millennium Gaming, coming into this competition with a seed of 215. This is game number 1 of a best of 3, and you gotta remember, if there ever was anything close to a, I guess you could say, Olympic for esport, I have to give it to MLG Annaheim. I'm personally super pumped for this tournament. Not gonna be expecting to see a lot of high level plays, and we'll see where this game takes us today. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that Millennium ToD doesn't have the clan tag in front of his name, but most often, well, in some instances, I've seen the Millennium players with just a capital M in front of their name. So if you do see a capital M in front of someone's name, most likely it will mean that they are from Millennium Gaming. And we see that ToD already throwing down a Forge, not a bad choice, especially for Protoss playing against Zerg on this map, just because the opening leading to your main is so wide, and the opening leading to your natural is much wider than usual, so might as well focus all your effort into blocking off this opening to the natural, just because you don't want Zerglings running all over the place, since the opening is wider than most standard maps. And we see, I believe ToD, yes, ToD did see that his opponent is also going hatch first, and he, let's see, yep, he saw that the spawning pool has not finished, which is why you don't see any cannon coming from him, instead using all that mineral for Nexus first. And is he going to be throwing down a cannon? No, a gateway, and he cancels it, but there goes the gateway again. So yeah, not seeing your Zerg opponent getting out a pool or a pool in time means that you could delay that cannon for quite a while longer, just to get more minerals. For example, he utilized those minerals saved for that Nexus, probably a couple of probes, and now just going to be getting that cannon. So very smart move. You never want to, for example, throw down a cannon very early and not really using it at all. That is just dead money. That's money spent. That is not doing anything for you. So yeah, very smart play right there. And we see that CATZ already getting a gas, so, and just constant or saturating it right now, so probably going to be going for speed right on 100 gas and getting a little supply blocked here. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because he doesn't have any queen, so there wouldn't be any backlog of larva. And wow, ToD throwing down a pylon in this top left corner here, probably just going to be spotting for any sort of expansion. Yeah, still just throwing down his cybernetics core and concentrating his natural. Meanwhile, speed is on the way for CATZ, and he is opting to put still keeping guys on gas. So definitely opting to go for a heavy gas, or heavier than usual gas play in the early stages. And we see that both queens for CATZ are out, and he is not making any links right now, so definitely gearing up for some heavy macro play. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense to make any links, just because if the Protoss opponent walls off this ramp here, you know, you can't really speed your way past a wall off. But this is actually not a tight wall off. We do see a little gap opening in between the cybernetics core and this tree over here. So he needs to be careful, make sure that Zealot is in place to block it before any links come here. And Looks like coLCatZ is going to be going for a early third. He is not going to be grabbing his natural early third expansion just because he does not have any units to bust down his rock, which is why he is placing his third in where his usually where his fourth would be. In most of the time, this would be a good idea if your opponent doesn't have something there to spot it. But we see that, yeah, ToD already knows that his opponent's fourth is about to finish now. And coLCatZ, I believe, knows about this too as well. Yes, he does have an Overlord there. So, you know, even if ToD do something crazy here, it's not going to take him by surprise. Speaking of doing something crazy, we have something of that nature right now. We do see that, what is this, 6 gates on the way in addition to his 1 already finished, so 7 gate. And his +1 ground attack is about to finish, so not going to be surprised if he's going for some sort of timing push. The timing is almost perfect. We see that 7 gate coming out right when that +1 ground attack is finished, and he's already going to be morphing in some Zealot here, doing some sort of harassment in coLCatz's third. Going to be throwing down photon cannons to support that as well, but Ling's running in trying to snipe this cannon that's being constructed. Not sure if his Lings are being attacked by those Zealots, and Ling's sacrificing their lives for nothing. Meanwhile, a lot of drones are going down, but that Spine Crawler is able to clean it up. Probably should be moving that Spine Crawlers up to the front. Now Roach is going down. Very nice response. I guess when his Overlord was here to see that pylon, he knows that cannons on the high ground could very well be a possibility, which is why you need that Roach Warden early, just so you can shoot something up. In Zerglings running all the way around the back of this forward operating choke, or not choke, but position would not be a viable idea. So definitely Roach is popping out, I would say, more or less just in time. And now getting Burrow too, very, very nice, especially when you have Roaches, just because they can try to delay that force field if your opponent does go that route. And not 1 forward operating pylon, but a 2nd right here. Looks like coLCatZ is going to try to bust it down. Not sure. Yes, he does have enough power, but this is, I would say, quite a handful. I mean, a lot of Stalkers running in. He's not going to win this battle, which is why he is burrowing right now. And ToD getting another pylon, I would say, because he needs this high ground advantage and for that vision. Wow, coLCatZ very much on top of his game. As soon as that Stalker moved out of position, he immediately burrows, just to show you how well he can macro while still maintaining a good micro in the back of his base. I mean, I would say that his attention is almost always focused on this point, and just using that the tabbing and probably the mini-map to focus on macroing back in his base. So yeah, lots of Roaches being rallied in. Looks like coLCatZ is committed to take out this forward Protoss position, and this is a lot of Roaches. More Roaches coming in, should be joining their friends in the battle. Imagine what would happen if all those Roaches were here in that earlier engagement. Yep, keeping these weak Roaches at the back. I would say that he does have enough Roaches to move out to put some pressure on this Protoss position. Perhaps, yep, he is just going to be moving out right now. And Protoss is deciding to flee, so I'm not going to try to save those 2 pylons. And the Protoss ball is just grabbing that tower and moving back, so we're not going to try to save it at all. Meanwhile, I did see a Robo Bay and going down, and that Observer is almost completed. Observer is almost a necessity against Roaches, just because even if you do force field them, but they can also burrow, so you need that Observer just to make sure that Zerg player is not taking any sort of advantage when engaging. And looks like Protoss is going to be taking his third as well in the natural 4th position. So very interesting. Both players taking their third in the natural 4th position, and coLCatZ is going to be cleaning these 2 photon cannon and that pylon out. But I don't think he knows about this pylon. Nope, he's just gonna waltz right past it. So yeah, the pylon is gonna stay up for God knows how long, and most likely will be invaluable to the Protoss player. Just because if you do go for a DT sometime later, you don't need to send out a probe to make another forward pylon, and he does have another pylon right here. This ToD being very pesky with those forward pylons, and yeah, wow, this is a pretty good play right here. We see that the pathogen gland is not yet finished, but he timed his infestor to come out after the 30, because a pathogen gland takes 80 seconds to make an infestor takes 50, so if you make your infestors on 30 of the pathogen gland, they will pop out with enough energy for one fungal growth, which is what he did. So all his even though, which is why you should not wait until your pathogen gland is completely finished. And looks like coLCatZ sending in one Zergling, probably saw that his opponent does have Immortal, which is why he is getting that Neuroparasite right away. I mean, you don't even really need to, I mean, that Ling probably was just there to scout what size of an army his opponent has. In this high level play, you should assume that your opponent already has Immortal or Colossus in their army, but of course in this case ToD is going to be choosing Immortal just because his opponent is going Roach heavy. And Infestor, I would say, is a perfect counter just because you could fungal growth and most importantly Neuroparasite. You gotta remember, just because when you do Neuroparasite, you usually do it on those big scary units, and that is not so much as to make sure they're doing damage to the opponent, just more so because you don't want them to be shooting your own units. So just taking them out will keep your units alive for much longer. And Immortals doing wow, 55 damage against Roach. That if my math is correct, is about three shotting a Roach. So looks like coLCatz's army is going to be moving towards the Protoss third. And this position looks like it's completely undefended, and it's going to be running those drones away, even fungal growthing some drones, make sure that they will never see the light of day. And it needs to be fungal growthing this army. 2 does go